Okay guys, so I want to do a review with you on the metric system. Before we left school, we were talking about this and we said the metric system is a system that is used around the world, and it's really easy because it's based off our base 10. And all it is that it's a series of prefixes that we put in front of our measurements. So if you recall, those prefixes started with a kilo, and then we had hecto, and then we had deca, and then we had our base. Now I'm going to draw our scale here. So we got the kilo, hecta, deca, and then this right here was our base. Now the base simply means that we're either going to be using meters, liters, or grams. Now we use meters for length. In distance, we use liters to measure volume, which is liquid, and we use grams for mass or weight. After that, we have deci, and then there's centi, and then there's milli. Now, the way we remember this is that King Henry died by drinking chocolate milk, okay? And we don't want to confuse our deca with our deci. And these prefixes simply mean, if we're starting here with the base, this would just be our ones place. And as we go over this way, it says this is our ones, this has to be our tens. And from our tens to our hundreds, and from our hundreds to our thousands. Now, if you remember, we talked about decimals as well. We did decimals this year. And a decimal would start right before the ones place. It would be here. And then after the decimal, we start talking about fraction parts. So a deci, or a decigram, or a decimeter, would be 1/10. And then a centi would be a 1/100th. And then a milli would be 1/1000th. Which simply means it would take 1,000 millimeters to make 1 meter. It would take 100 centimeters to make 1 meter. And it would take 10 decimeters to make 1 meter. Once you have 1 meter, it would take 10 of those, 10 whole ones, to make a decameter. It would take 100 whole ones to make a hectometer. And it would take 1,000 whole ones to make a kilometer. So we're talking about conversions here. So let's start with a conversion. Let's say I had 5 hectometers equals how many centimeters? Now I'm going to change colors here. If you remember, the way we did this is we said big to small we multiply. So if I'm going from a big to a small, I'm going to use multiplication. And if I'm going from a small to a big, I'm going to divide. And it's always by 10. If you notice, it keeps going up by 10. This is multiplied by 10. This is times 10, times 10, times 10, times 10, times 10, times 10, if you're going in this direction. Or it's divided by 10, 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 if you're going in this direction. So say if I'm looking here, I see that I'm going from hectometers to centimeters. So I'm clearly going from a big to a small. So that means multiplication. So if I know it's multiplication, then it becomes very easy. I simply take my 5 hectometers and I'm going to multiply that by how many jumps. So let's look at the jumps here. We're going from hectometers to centimeters. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 4 jumps. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that means really we're multiplying 5 times 10,000, which would be 50,000 centimeters. Now, I started you off with a real hard one. Let's try something a little simpler. Let's try and remove some of this confusion here. I'm just going to rewrite these back in. All right, so let's try something simpler. Let's say now I have 5 kilometers equals how many meters? So again, what I'm going to do is, I'm going to take these, and take all this, just going to move it down here, because I want you guys to see the jumps that I'm making here. So we got 5 kilometers equals how many meters? So again, we're going from a big to a small, because kilos are way bigger than meters. So we know we're going to be adding zeros here. So if I start from kilo and I go to meters, that's 1, 2, 3. Which simply means that my answer is going to be 1, 2, 3. You see, we're always either adding zeros or taking away zeros. And when you run out of zeros, then we're switching over to decimals. Let's do one going from small to big. Let's say I had 6,000 millimeters equals how many meters? Now again, let me switch colors here. Millimeters would be over here. And we're going from millimeters to meters. How many jumps is that? That would be 1, 2, 3. But this time we're going from a small to a big, so we'll be dividing by 10. When we divide by 10, we're losing zeros. So if it's 3 jumps, that means we're taking away 3 zeros. So 6,000 millimeters is actually only 6 meters.